Hey, everybody. I just got back from having voted on the House floor on this massive spending bill. I voted against it, and I wanted to tell you why. First of all, this bill was over 5,500 pages long. We received the text of this bill at approximately 2:30 this afternoon, and we're told we'd have to go and vote on it just a few hours later. There is no way that anybody in Congress had the opportunity or the time to go through and read this bill to know exactly what was in it. I've been here long enough to see how provisions are snuck into these bills literally in the dark of night without any announcement, without telling anyone what is in it, and then rushed through in the manner that we have just seen tonight. This is the height of irresponsibility, and it is absolutely no way for the people's representatives to be able to represent the interests of the American people. The second thing is the central part of this bill was supposed to be about providing direct COVID relief to the American people who are struggling and who need help the most. This bill dished out hundreds of billions of dollars going towards special interests, going towards the military industrial complex, going towards foreign countries, meanwhile saying, here's what's left for you. You get $600. I'll tell you, in Hawaii, that in most cases won't even cover 25% of your rent. It is an insult and a slap in the face to every single American in this country who is struggling because of this COVID pandemic, who is concerned about not being able to pay the rent, about eviction, about whether you'll have enough to buy groceries or medicine for yourself or your loved ones. This bill is a representation of the screwed up priorities of Washington. They should be fighting for you and making sure that you, the American people, come first. This bill did not do that.
This morning, some lawmakers fuming over that nearly 6,000-page stimulus bill packed with pork, causing 6 GOP senators to vote against it, including an outraged Rand Paul.
If free money were the answer, if money really grew on trees, why not give more free money? Why not give it out all the time? Why stop at $600 a person? Why not $1,000? Why not $2,000? Maybe these new free money Republicans should join the Everybody Gets a Guaranteed Income caucus.
Well, that's Rand Paul. He joined Rick Scott, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Marsha Blackburn, Ron Johnson in voting against this passage. Let's bring in Special Report's own anchor Brett Baer. Hey, Brett, we saw the need for $25 billion emergency rental assistance. We understand $10 billion for the Postal Service, funding for COVID-19 vaccinations in schools. We did not think we were going to get all this Kennedy Center stuff, the Pakistani gender studies things. Am I just naive? And as we rolled through some of these things, it seemed like some lawmakers were caught by surprise, too. How does this stuff happen?
Well, listen, this is an omnibus bill, and this is what happens in this process, which is heinous. It is really why people hate Washington, is when this happens, that it's all rolled into one massive bill, 5,600 pages, as Pete mentioned. Now, the COVID stimulus obviously is very well needed, and supporters were pushing for that for many months. But when you all roll it in, $2.5 trillion in spending, and you throw it out and say, here's an up or down vote, there is no way that any lawmaker is going to page 4,870 and saying, I don't like this. And that's where lobbyists operate in Washington, and they get stuff packed in there. And these 6 Republicans say, we don't like this process. True to form, Rand Paul has always talked like this, and he's concerned about the $27 trillion in debt. Republicans haven't seen that concern in a long time. You may start seeing it pretty soon.
Yeah, Brett, this has been a long slog to the point of getting this COVID relief bill passed. We've for months been covering different negotiations between the White House and Nancy Pelosi. For a long time, President Trump and Nancy Pelosi didn't even speak to each other. But it seems like this may just be the beginning. You had James Clyburn on yesterday saying that this isn't a stimulus package. It's simply a relief package, and he wants more of it. Is that what we're going to see in the coming months, depending on how Georgia goes?
Well, Katie, I think Democrats are clearly going to push for that. There will be some Republicans who push for that and targeted stimulus, but not one of these massive bills. That said, a Republican Senate is going to raise some red flags, and that's what makes Georgia January 5th.